Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome again to another painting tutorial. Today we will be painting a landscape and we will be painting a tree right in the middle of the painting, and it will be a relaxing scene, and I just want a relaxing scene today. I don't know why, but sometimes I do landscape, sometimes I do still life, sometimes I do pets. So it depends on my mood actually. So today I want to paint something that's really relaxing and something that I want to be in. And by the way, today is my 4th year anniversary on YouTube as a painting teacher. All right. My YouTube account has been in existence way ahead of that. However, I only started doing my painting tutorials April 28th, 2020. So that was COVID time actually. So I had all the time to do a lot of videos during the time. I took advantage of that, and here I am now and um, doing more painting lessons. So I'm using an 11 by 14 canvas paper. So you can use the same canvas size or material size. However, I'm not really suggesting that you have the same size. You can choose whatever size that you want. You can even choose whatever shape that you want. I'm teaching you how to paint the landscape. It's up to you where to paint it. All right. So I'm gonna sketch first where things are gonna go. So let's first identify where the horizon is gonna go. And I'll be using my burnt sienna. The colors that we will be using for today's tutorial will be listed in the description box below. So it's like a tiny hill where the tree is, okay? So this will be the horizon line, okay? And I'm just gonna use this burnt sienna to just continue doing the underpainting for this area. I'll be mixing it with a little bit of black. My oxide black will be delivered today. I actually ordered online because this black that I'm using for the past few paintings that I've been doing, it's not really oxide black, it's ivory black, which is a transparent version of my usual black. While I appreciate sometimes the purpose of transparent or translucent black, I don't really use it that much. I mean, I usually use oxide black. If you've watched my previous video, I've mentioned that it was a mistake on my part when I bought the ivory black. I thought it was my usual black. I never thought there was a transparent black. You know, all these years that I've been painting, I never thought there was a transparent black. All right, so now that we've identified where the hill or where the hill is and where the tree will be planted, okay, now let's move on to doing the sky. And for the sky, we will be doing lots and lots of clouds. And this is what I like about painting the sky. It has lots of clouds, which makes the sky more lively. Like it's not a dead thing just there, backgrounding your painting. It's more of a life itself. All right. So I'm gonna use my primary blue and mix it with white. I'll be adding a little bit of burnt sienna so that it's not too blue or bright white. So I'm gonna use this color right here. I keep wetting my brush so that the paint glides quite smoothly on my canvas paper, because my canvas paper is a little bit absorbent. Okay. Okay, now I'm gonna use my pure blue plus white. Okay, let's just move on to the topmost portion of the sky. And you can see that I'm moving my paintbrush in a slightly diagonal manner. Okay, like this. Okay, great. This is not the final look of the blue color. We will definitely add some darker blues later, but I just want the paint to dry first before I move on to the next stage. Okay, now let's move on to doing some grasses right here on this area since it's a little bit dry. So I'm going to change my brush because this is quite wide. So I'm going to change my brush now and I'm going to use maybe size 14. Okay, a square brush. And I'm just going to dip it on my water, wet my brush, and I'm going to start creating some sort of grasses. So I'm going to get my yellow, mix it with the already existing blue here. Although you can use green, but I realized that I'll be using blue and yellow. So instead of using a separate green color, why not just mix the color so that I don't waste a lot of paint? So I'm going to use some green color, almost like a sap green or olive green color. And I'm going to start creating some grass like brush strokes. So I'm just using my brush to lightly tap on this area. This is definitely not the color that I want for this as the final look, but we're trying to make a second layer of underpainting right here using a greeny color. And you don't want to try, you don't want to cover everything. You don't want to cover everything that you see, that all the brown spots need not be covered with this green color. Just slightly tap. You can actually use your fan brush, but the fan brush results would be more of a long grasses. We want just some short grasses. We don't want long grasses. This is more of a trimmed grasses. They are like taken care of. They are not wild grasses, if that makes sense. Okay. Now I'm gonna get my brown. I'm gonna mix it with the existing green. I'm gonna add black to that so that it's dark brown. I'm gonna start creating some spaces. I'm gonna add more black. We want the spaces to be more deep, meaning darker. In the same manner that you did the grasses, just do it in the same manner. And you don't want to cover everything again. This is just layering. Just keep on layering so that you build the foliage. I call it foliage, even if it's just grasses. I don't know if it's applicable, but this group of leaves right here. Okay, without washing my brush, I'm gonna dab onto my yellow. Okay, so it creates that muddy yellow. And I'm gonna start creating again, once more, some grass like patterns, painting over not really totally painting over, but slightly touching on those areas that we've already painted on, because layering is key here in order for us to create, um, grass-like patterns. And some areas will also be brighter compared to other areas. The centermost part of this painting will be the brightest, okay? So later we will do some light play, but for now, let's just do some grasses. Okay, like this. Remember to be more random when it comes to painting nature, because if you do it very symmetrically, or if you do it as if you're measuring everything, it will not look as natural as, as it should be. And I just don't really appreciate paintings that are too symmetrical. I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like if it's just too symmetrical, even if it's realistic, like everything looks perfect, it's not real. You know what I mean. I don't know if that is making sense to you. Um, but for me, too much perfection, too much symmetry in a painting makes the painting looks like not real at all. Like it does not exist in real life, something like that. Okay, now I'm gonna use this yellow. However, I'm gonna mix it with white. Let's create a lighter colored yellow. I did not wash my brush, however. I don't know if it's going to affect the brightness, but I think the white color will do the job for me, even if I did not wash my brush, clean my brush. So I'm gonna lighten some areas right here. Remember that the centermost part of the painting is the brightest. So that area near the horizon line should be the brightest because it's near the source of light, which is the sun. Okay? When we're painting nature, the source of light is always the sun. I don't know if there are other sources of light in nature than the sun, but I've never painted anything that is nature, that the source of light is not the sun. If it's a lamp, then it's not a natural subject. It's a man-made subject. We will also be creating some shadows, which will be uh, done here on the hill. The shadows created by the sun hitting the tree. So the tree is blocking um, the sun. So we will be creating some sort of shadowing. And I'm using pure yellow right here. So just paint over the horizon line already. Don't let any brown color uh, be visible or be still visible. Okay, I'm getting my black. Lots of black. And again, I did not wash my brush. Let's apply some depth and shadows already. Okay, so this will be the shadow of the tree trunk. Okay. Now I really want this area to dry first. Let's move on to the area near the horizon line. So let's do some clouds, which is also my favorite part. So for the clouds, I'm just gonna use a clean brush, okay, and it's quite dry. No, not that it's quite dry, it's really dry. I'm not gonna wet this one. I'm just gonna dab on straight away to my white, but I'll be adding a little bit of black to that white so that it's not pure white, it's gray. But it's not too gray. It should be uh, dominantly white, but not too bright. If that's making sense to you. So I'm just gonna color this area right here with some gray. Maybe I'm gonna gray it more because I think it's too white. Okay, like this gray, and I'm just gonna create using dry brushing technique some round brush strokes right here. Remember, I am using a dry paintbrush. We are not going to wet it except using the paint. So if you are wondering why did we paint it blue if we are going to paint it with gray? I mean, paint over it with gray. Well, the reason why we painted it blue is because the sky is basically blue. The clouds are just there when they are formed. Okay? But when the clouds are gone, they're still there. The blue sky is still there. So even if it's just a painting, we still want to do that so that we really give it that realistic feeling. Okay, and besides, even if we're painting over it, we can still see through these areas that are covered that the sky is actually blue if the clouds are not there, right? Without the blue sky, this will really look weird, just clouds. The sky is white and all. It cannot be like that. It's always blue. Okay. So we're going towards the center. It's like the clouds are going down like that. And if your canvas paper is like mine, which is super duper absorbent, you can always relayer. Take your time in relayering. You watch my video and then you can pause it and then you just continue with your layering. Don't rush. It's okay. So I'm going to use a little bit of bright white on certain areas. Okay, like that. Just using the bright white. Okay, right here. And if you can hear a little bit of street sounds, Um, I actually opened my window and I want to breathe some fresh air while I'm painting. Um, yeah, I seldom open my windows when I'm painting, but I feel like today it's quite warm. So I just need to open my windows because if I turn on the aircon, it's gonna be too cold. You know that um, like you just can't get the enough coldness and warmth. So I just open my window instead of turning on the aircon and be cold again. Okay. This I'm gonna make the center. The centermost part of this sky will be covered with the tree shape. So um, while it doesn't really matter when the tree is already there, we should always make sure that we cover it because some areas will be peeking through the spaces between the leaves of the trees. So it's better to just cover it first with the sky background and allow the tree painting to cover it naturally so that you don't have those bulb spaces. Okay, I'm gonna wash my brush out. Now I'm gonna get my pure primary blue. I'm gonna insert some primary blue, pure primary blue, in between the clouds, just to allow some dark colors to be there. And we want these colors to be there. Okay. Right. Okay, now let's go back to just gonna paint the edge. Right, just like that. Then let's do some distant trees right here. So I'm gonna use an angle brush for that. So I'll be using this angle brush. It's size 14 as well. And I'm gonna use the gray color that we have here. I'll be adding white so that it's not too gray. And I'll be creating some tree like distant trees. And make your trees looking natural by creating some short trees, some tall trees. And I'm getting my black. Right. I'll be adding a little bit of white so that it's almost disappearing. in the background. Okay. Okay. Now I'm gonna do a little bit of like distant mountains. Okay. This will be covered anyway, but we want to make sure that it's there, even if it's just a tiny bit of detail. Mm. Okay, I'm just pushing it upward so that I create that tree-like images. Mm. Again, these are distant, so we just want to make a suggestion of what's in there. We don't want to make any particular details. See, like that. Right, now let's go back to doing some brightening. Adding some more details on the clouds. Okay. All right. Now I'm just excited to do the tree because we're painting a tree and it's supposed to be there now. Okay, so for the tree trunk, I'm just gonna use my angle brush. I'm gonna mix my black and my burnt sienna so that I create that dark brown. But remember that I told you I am using ivory black. So the black will that I'm using will be a lot compared to you who are using oxide black because my black is not that um, opaque. So for the shape of the tree trunk, remember that this is the shadow for the tree trunk. So I'm going to create the tree right here. So I'm just going to do the shape first. Make it a little bit on the crooked side. You can hear some door, dog barking. Mhm. All right. And then let's close this area. Okay, so I'm gonna create branches. So create some branches that are going in different directions. If you want your tree to look more natural, you should be going in different directions. And some branches will be thin, some branches will be thick. Just play with it. It's going to reach that top. And a lot of these areas will be filled with leaves anyway. But again, we want to make sure that we are doing lots and lots of branches so that, it kind of supports the idea of a fluffy tree because it cannot be fluffy if there's nothing to hold on to for the leaves. There should be some branches, right? So even if this will be covered with paint later on, we want to make sure that our painting makes sense. All right, so I'm gonna switch my brush to a much smaller one so that I can create tiny, tiny branches. All right, now using this tiny brush, I'm gonna start creating the leaves and I'm gonna use my brown black mixture. Mix it with yellow. And I'm gonna start creating the foliage. So when you use a smaller brush, you're going to create foliage that are suggestive of smaller leaves. And go over or make your leaves, what they call this, overlap. Okay, make your leaves overlap the branches. Don't be too strict as to the lines. Make some overlapping leaves simply because, these are leaves and they're going in different directions. If they are going in a particular direction, it's not nature, right? Even if it's windy, it might go in a certain direction, but not all the leaves will be going in the same direction. I hope I'm making sense. You know, I really appreciate nature, and I really like nature. I really like this brush because it creates that leaf-like um, brush strokes that I want. Okay, again, make it overlap the. This is actually repetitive work. So if you are not a fan of repetitive work, um, take a rest and go back to that. Go back to this uh, later. I'm just gonna continue this. Okay, now I'm gonna mix my blue and green so that I create that greeny color. Okay, I'm gonna get my black, my oxide black, my remaining oxide black, because I want to use some oxide black, and I'm gonna use my size 2 paintbrush, and I'm gonna do the same thing. However, I'm using pure black. This is to already provide it shadows and depth and dimension. So I'm using a smaller brush because we want to create a variety of shapes, because some leaves are growing, some leaves are just sprouting. Sprouting, is that the right word? Some leaves are just born. So we want to make some depth, and by doing this depth technique, we also add volume to the leaves. The tree is actually more of a silhouette, but because of the light, some colors are showing, like the dark green color that we just had. So again, we don't want to miss that. Okay, now using this oxide black, I'm going to create more branches. You can tell that this is an old tree, simply because it would not have grown this big if it's just a new tree. And also using this oxide black, I'm going to darken some parts of the trunk down here. Okay, and also here a little bit. Repetitive work, right? But okay, we don't want um, we don't want to leave, uh, or we still want to leave some bulb areas or spaces in between the leaves, simply because that's just how leaves look like. They have spaces in between, even if they are full. The tree is fully grown, or the tree is really fluffy. Okay, like this. Let's just go over this distant trees. Let's start creating some depth on the hill. Okay, like that. Okay, now I'm going to use my fan brush. So I'm just going to use my old fan brush. I'm going to dab onto my yellow. Yellow and white. And let's go back to highlighting some areas here. So again, just use short dabs so that we only create grasses that are short. Um, we don't want to create too long of a grass. Oops, sorry about that. I Okay, I accidentally. Anyway, I'm just gonna play around this area. Okay, now I'm getting my green. Let's apply some more greens right here over the shadow area. Because even if it's the shadow area, it is not really black. When you look at shadows, it's not really black. It's more of a gray color. Okay, I'm gonna get my browns. Slightly, actually, my brown is too brown. So I'm gonna apply some yellow over the brown. So I'm gonna mix my yellow and brown and apply some brownie grasses on certain areas. Okay, and then let me just correct this one as well because I painted over that. Okay, like that. Okay, now using some greens, slightly create some greeny colors. Like that. Actually, the yellow color on my paintbrush is mixing, and I kind of like it. This is a good accident. Okay, like that. Okay, now I'm gonna use my square brush, number 14, and I'm just gonna dab onto my white. Okay. Mix it with a tiny bit of yellow. Again, we don't want to use too much yellow at this time. We want to make sure that it's more white than yellow. And I'm going to touch on the area near the horizon line to really brighten this area. Okay, and I'm going to get my yellow a bit just to mix the colors. Some will be yellowy, some will be more white. Okay, like this. Okay, like that. Okay, now using my oxide black, let's extend the tree. Okay, and maybe mix it with a little bit of green. Mm, gonna get my brown and black. Let's just create some dirt on the ground. Okay. And then using my fan brush again. I haven't really seen it from my camera view. Actually, it's so good. Oh my God. Oh wow. I did not actually expect this one. Okay, I'm gonna get more yellow. Oh, by the way, I'm gonna use this yellow ochre. I'm gonna include this in the description box below. I'm gonna use my yellow ochre to just give a little bit of a different yellow. Mhm. Because we've been using the, what they call this, yeah, medium yellow, and all the time it's like that. So I'm gonna use my yellow ochre so that I give it some sort of gold color. And I'm gonna apply that quite randomly near the horizon line only. You don't want to go too far using this color, because again, the horizon line, everything near the horizon line should be a little brighter. But I'm going to apply a little bit of that color, yellow ochre, slightly touching on this area. I'm grabbing some black by accident. Okay, I'm going to mix my yellow ochre with white and maybe tiny bit of my medium yellow. I'm going to create some more brightness. Maybe white. I really want to play with the light. Like this. Again, short brush strokes only. We don't want any long brush strokes here. I don't know if you like tall grasses, but I'm scared of tall grasses simply because I feel like there's a snake hiding. Am I the only one? I just don't like untrimmed grasses. I don't know. That's the reason, to be honest. I have a phobia when it comes to those areas. I love nature in general, but when the grasses are just so tall that I cannot see what's in it, oh my god, uh, scares my soul. I'm gonna dab onto my green just to give it again some sort of greeny color, because I think we need a lot of highlighting. So just play with it. The more you play with it, the more natural it will look. And again, touch also on the shadow part, because while it is the shadow part and it should be dark, it is not absolutely dark. Remember that. Okay, like this. I really, really, really like this. Okay, now I'm gonna still be using, I'm still using my pan brush. I'm just washing it, and I want to brighten actually some areas. Oh, I just sprinkled some water over my paint brushes. So I'm gonna use my white, okay, and slightly, I'm gonna cover this area, not absolutely, but I want to make sure that it looks distant. That mountainous area right there at the back, and also right here, this area. Just a suggestion that they are fading away because of their distance. Okay. Oops. I'm accidentally touching on. And again, start to brighten. I'm trying to brighten it. Okay, like that. And I'm gonna leave it like that for now. Let's create a tiny bit of suggestion of light peeking through the branches. So for that, I'll be using my yellow ochre, okay, a little bit of brown. And I'm going to create that right here, right here, okay? Just like a little asterisk, like that, and like that. Okay, like this. Good, like that. And then using white, pure white, we're just going to do the same thing. Oh, I'm sorry, not pure white, guys. I'm sorry. Use yellow, medium yellow. I already have my white, but I'm just gonna use that. Okay, yellow. Don't paint over the whole area. Okay, like that. And this time use white. I'm not really washing my brush. I just want dominance. So using white like that. So it's like a little round. It's like a twinkling color. Twinkling ray of sunshine peeking through this area. Okay, now I'm gonna use a smaller brush just to fix some areas. So I'm gonna use my yellow ochre again, and I'm gonna spread a little bit of that color just to give it really some light effect. Slightly. Again, I'm using yellow ochre. Like that. Oh, I like this one. Okay. Let's just fix the white. Make sure that the center is bright. Like that. Using some watered down white. Let's brighten again the area near the horizon line. And some areas down here, just to give it some light play. Wow, I really like this one. Oh my god, it's the perfect anniversary painting for me. And now I'm gonna, what do you think should I do? I'm gonna use the remaining black paint just to create more foliage. Okay, tiny foliage. Right, like that. And I think we're done, and I'm gonna sign this now. I'm just gonna use my black since I do have it. And I'm gonna sign right here. And we're finished. Yay! So I hope you like this one, and I hope you paint along with me. If you like this video and if you want to greet me happy anniversary, just greet me. And see you in my next one. Thank you guys for the amazing support since 2020 when I started painting or doing painting tutorials, painting videos. You've actually motivated me to do this. I was not into this. I was not into the idea of doing painting videos in the past. When I started in 2017, that was the last thing that I would do. But then when COVID times came, I felt like I should make use of the time to improve my art by being able to teach while painting, doing two things at the same time, sharing some painting skills with other people while doing the things that I love as well. So I hope you like this one, and I hope you paint along with me. See you in my next one, and love you.